All right, well, I guess first thing I want to say is thank you, Ione, for coming.
Yeah.
Fucking G-Sun Studios.
No, I wanted to see it again.
And I think it's just amazing just to be sitting here with you after many years.
The 90s.
Many years.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Well, we have a long history. We met, we grew up, you were up Beechwood in Hollywood, and I was in Hollywood. And we met as children, essentially.
Yeah. I think I first met you at your mom's house on Wilton.
We met, so my brother and your brother were best friends.
Yeah, Dono and Mike were best friends.
And so I just remember you were my brother's best friend's big brother, but we sort of, I remember what your house looked like of Beechwood, and you were at my house a lot, and we were just like wild kids running around Hollywood Hills.
But then it seemed like, we kind of went our separate ways a little bit.
Yeah, and then we got weirdly crossed over again because my first big boyfriend was Anthony Kiedis, and then your wife and he were, getting up to no good together, but like they were friends.
Yeah.
Wait, I drew that for you guys?
Yeah, so this is a drawing that you did actually for our baby shower for Bella in 1989, and I killed myself finding it. So I was like, I know this exists somewhere.
Oh, that's so
sweet. You drew a picture
sweet.
of me and Kim.
You were like the first one of us to have a kid.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, so then that was that crossover, and then when I was with Adam Horovitz, and then I just remember, how did that happen, you guys?
Well, I think with Adam, we were friends, and you were kind of back in the mix with Mike and birthday parties and stuff like that. And then the Beasties all like just moved into town, it seemed like. And I don't know how. I don't remember how we like got back in the mix with that.
Did you know Tommy Davis, who there's more spider webs, but Tommy is Tamara Davis, Mike D's ex, the little kid in the family.
Right, and singer for DFL.
Singer for DFL. So he was around a lot because his older sister is married to Mike D, and I just remember, I don't remember how you guys started.
Well, we were all living in Echo Park together, and I think Mike and Tamara lived up the street from us in Echo Park, like literally around the corner, and then Kim and Wag moved into that place. And I just remember there was a birthday party for my brother Mike at Bronson. Mm-hmm. And there must have been like 50 people there, and you were there, and Adam was there.
Yeah, we used to have these big parties in Bronson Park, like big birthday parties that had, like, I don't know, there'd be like Christian Slater, and then like, I don't know, Mario Van Peebles Jr., is that his name?
I don't know.
He's an amazing director. Anyway, it's like such a mix of all the kind of...
The people of the early 90s, yeah. And I think I became friends, maybe I saw you, but I remember I got invited to a brunch that you were having on, I think it was like Beverly Boulevard or something, but there was some brunch and all the Beasties were there and you were there, and I was trying to figure out who was who, because I wasn't like a Beastie Boy fan or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so I didn't really know who anybody was. It was like really, but from there, just like, I think, just struck up a friendship with Adam.
Did you have a band before DFL?
I did. I had a band in the early 80s called The Adams, that went from like 79 to like maybe 82 or 83. And then it fell apart, and then I got just really involved with drugs and kind of went off the radar until I think we reconnected. In like the late 80s, maybe early 90s. So I think 90, 91, something like that. Starting to meet you guys again, hanging out with the Beasties, hanging out with Adam. So tell me about your acting. For me, I always think about you from Gas, Food, and Lodging, and because again, a Kim connection with Allison Anders, the director of Gas, Food, and Lodging.
Yes.
And you were in that, and we loved Allison, and we went and saw that movie, and we're just so proud of Allison. And you.
Yeah. So wait, Allison Anders and Kim are friends, right?
Yeah, they were best friends. They worked at I think they worked at the LA Weekly together.
That's right. Yeah, Allison Anders is the coolest director. So my brother Donovan was breakdancing in high school at Hollywood High, and that he always wanted to perform. You know, he's so outgoing. I'm very shy, but my brother, who's older, is very outgoing. And he pop locked his way into that's when they were doing pop locking in Alice, the TV show, and he was in the All Night Long Lionel Richie video. So he kind of got himself into the business breakdancing. And he got an agent and he started auditioning. And when he was auditioning for River's Edge, through the LA Weekly is sort of one of the reasons why I got an audition. I didn't even want to audition, but my brother and I were in the LA Weekly because a friend of ours was doing pictures, and we were in the LA Weekly. And they I think my brother probably brought it into the audition knowing my brother and was like, here I am in the LA Weekly or something. Or the casting director saw these pictures and they wanted me to come in and read. And it was the lead in, Keanu Reeves' first big movie, and it became like a big thing in a way, big indie. And so I was in Hollywood High, just not a good student, just too scared to audition, but I was like, maybe this is my way out of high school. Mm-hmm. And it turned out, I was very creative, drawing, and I loved, loved movies, I liked dancing, whatever. But I got the part, and I think I forced myself to break through my shyness, just to kind of get out of my school, basically. And then I got the part, and then I got an agent. And
nice. So you did River's Edge, then you did one after that.
Then I did, Jimmy Reardon, this movie with River Phoenix, and then I did a big ABC miniseries, and then I did a movie with Flea, and then I kind of forgot I was an actor almost, because I would almost forget. I was a teenager, and then my brother told me about Gas, Food, and Lodging, and was again, he sort of helped me restart. Not it wasn't restarting, but he said, there's a really cool film. You should go and meet Allison Anders. Somehow he knew about it. And I was I don't know, I kind of I didn't lose interest, but thank God I went, because that was such a great movie, and it's such an amazing experience. And Allison Anders is a life-changing kind of woman, because she's she's so hard to explain, but she's this magical kind of, she sort of doesn't fit into any box of a...
Yeah, and I won't grab it. I brought it, but I won't grab it. Maybe we can show it later. But I did an interview actually with Allison in Grand Royal Magazine #1.
Oh my God, yeah, the Grand Royal magazines are so cool.
Yeah, I think Grand Royal 1 and Grand Royal Magazine #2.
We did, Adam Horowitz and my brother and I did, when Joey Buttafuoco, when that whole thing happened, we did a Joey Buttafuoco photo shoot, where I was, what was her name? The girlfriend, Amy?
I can't remember.
Joey Buttafuoco's girlfriend. I was the girlfriend, and Adam Horowitz was all dressed up kind of mobby or whatever. I mean, it had, and then I did a cartoon in it. Everyone got to do what they wanted in the ground. I mean, there were some iconic things in the magazine. Well, punk rock was Mike D was into punk. I think he was in a band with Kate Schellenbach before the Beastie Boys. So
yeah, The Young and the Useless.
The Young and the Useless was a great band before the Beastie Boys.
And the Beasties started out as a punk band, as a hardcore band.
Yeah, they were a hardcore band, and then I can't remember. I think Adam Yauch or I think Adam Yauch wanted to bring in rap, I think, right? And Mike D was like, you know those punk, like Darby Crash, they have this look, their eyes like look punk for real, and Mike D had those eyes. Like some, you know what I mean?
Well, I had kind of stepped out of the punk scene because I was all fucked up on drugs.
Yeah.
And then for some reason I started listening, and believe me, I looked for it and I was gonna bring it, but I couldn't find it. I started listening to this cassette on my Walkman of the first Bad Religion record, which is How Could Hell Be Any Worse? And I was just obsessively listening to that record. And then I started writing these like punk rock songs, you know, that are the DFL songs that turned into DFL. And I just started writing like Pizza Man or Meter Maid in that style for some reason. And it was weird because in the early 90s, punk had gotten kind of, it wasn't real raw. It was getting like more polished sounding.
Yeah.
I think Bad Religion actually had become more polished, and No Effects, and it had more of like a polished kind of sound, I guess. But I wasn't listening to any of that, and I was just listening to this Bad Religion. I started writing songs, and one day Adam came to pick me up. We were going out to do something, I don't know what, in that old Range Rover he had, and he picks me up, and I'd just been playing these songs, and so I just as a joke I say to him, like, hey, I wrote all these hardcore songs. Do you wanna start a band or start jamming?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And he said, let's go to G-Sun. So I was like, literally right here, came, showed him the songs, and I think he reached out to Tom Davis and reached out to Tony Converse, and Max Perlich was around, of course, because Max was everywhere, you know, with us, and like the entourage of people. And one other person, Mike D. I think Mike D. might have played drums. And it's just such a trip because literally there was like a stage right here in the studio, and all their gear was like set up on this stage, just ready to go. And
how did Tommy become the singer?
I think Adam wanted Tom to be the singer. I had lost touch with Tom. Tom and I were like best friends in the early 80s skating together.
Oh, okay.
And we had met each other actually at a skate park, going on the bus to a skate park. And then I'd lost touch with him, you know, in the punk scene. I saw him around, but he moved to Hermosa Beach, and I lost touch with him. So I guess through Tamara and Mike, maybe it was on Adam's mind, I don't know. And I think Max also was supposed to sing as well. It's supposed to be like a double vocal thing. And, you know, and Tom just...
He was ready to do that.
Yeah, so the way that we recorded the record, so I wrote these songs, and I wrote like kind of the choruses, and I think Tom wrote the verses, and I wrote the music, and we practiced them for maybe a few times, not that many. And then Adam was like, let's record it. So again, we had everything set up on this imaginary studio that I'm pointing to, imaginary stage I'm pointing to in the studio. And Mario mic'd everything up, and went in the control room, there was a door there, which is not there anymore, but the control room back there. And we just ran through the set. And I think, you know, and kind of found like the perfect way to record DFL, and we've actually recorded every DFL record that way since, is we just play the song live, and maybe once or twice and move on, don't overthink it.
Yeah.
And it's more like you know, like you just capture the moment.
Yeah.
And so we didn't really practice very much. And then the next day, there was a party in the studio.
Oh, and you played the party.
And we played the party.
I remember that. That's
and so it was
fun.
like a big party.
And then everyone was like, wow, oh my God. And then we all were so excited to go to all the shows.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Yeah, and the party was, I mean, again, like I was tripping on being in this room because I remember so clearly being with all the people, and there were kind of like the who's who of like the 1992 set.
Yeah.
You know, Anthony was here, and Tony Alva, and Christian Hosoi. I think Christian Hosoi was actually skating while we were playing because there was a skateboard ramp.
Did someone film that?
I mean, if somebody filmed that, please give us that film.
I mean, it's in my mind as the coolest, you know, there's the skating, the punk band, like
we did record it.
Right.
So, because we had recorded the record the day before.
Yeah.
Mario left everything.
And Tommy Davis would just go crazy.
Yeah,
it was so cathartic for everybody.
Yeah, and we actually have the recording of that
the first show.
That first show that actually we're going to release.
And Tony Converse was very into it. Tony Converse came from a kind of well-to-do family, but he was the kind of he had another brother who's very preppy, and Tony was also inner punk inside. So for him, I feel like it was just so good for all of you guys.
Yeah, it was very, you know, just to get that.
And the songs were good. It wasn't just like we want to be punk and have fun. It was like.
Well, we recorded all that stuff, and then I went away to England for school for a summer, and they released it, and were really serious. It was the second release on Grand Royal. They were really serious about the record, and you know, and it was more, the band really was started just for the fun of it, you know. It was just such like a moment, you know what I mean, in LA, where the Beasties were here, they were recording Check Your Head, which I think is probably one of my favorite records, and you know, you guys were like hanging out, and yeah, it was a really special time. Yeah. At least the end for DFL in the Grand Royal world was, so the record came out, and we were excited, and now it became like, hey, we're a band, you know, let's do another record. And Adam says, you know,
Tommy!
It's Crazy Tom.
Oh my God. Hey, man.
You guys started the party already?
Well, yeah. Hi. Oh my God. Hi. I just saw Kimmy like a little while ago.
Let's grab you a chair so you could jump in.
It's fucking weird being here, gotta tell you.
It is. It's a trip.
The ramp was right here?
It was, yeah, going back and forth from wall to wall.
Stage was right there.
Stage was right there. Control room.
Oh yeah, everything.
Basketball hoop.
The person we're missing is Max. Yeah, when we first started, Adam was telling me, he's like, we're gonna be the first band with 2 punk rock singers, kind of like emceeing. I was like, he's like, you and Max.
Max Perlich.
Yeah. So, first couple times we tried it, I remember here even Adam or Mario would give us the mic and give me the mic, and I would sing something, and then Max would be like, no. He just couldn't do it. He couldn't figure it out. But you already had a couple of verses and parts, so I would just kind of was throwing those verses and stuff into the sections, the rhythms, and that's sort of how the first stuff started, like that.
Do you remember, like, how was it that the vocals were so distorted? Do you remember anything around, like, because I was trying to remember, like, I thought for some reason you played out of like a bass amp or something.
Yeah, we played out of a little bass amp, and it was just mic'd, and that ran all the way to the board. Anything that we did in those other rooms were just on fucked up microphones that the guys were already using.
It's like doing like extra vocals, or I think I played one maybe guitar lead somewhere or another, but maybe not. I don't think so. Not on that record, at least.
I think you did an overdub or two. Not much though. Adam was definitely pulling strings without us really even knowing it. And I was thinking about that earlier, that like, why wasn't Yauk in the band? Because Adam was the guitar player, so it was Adam's first punk band ever playing bass. So we sort of launched that career for him, and it was.
But I think Adam wanted something that was like low pressure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the Beasties at that point, it was like making a record that was gonna, be big, and it was amazing. It was an amazing record. Check Your Head. And I think it was just like a way to like just goof around with his friends.
Yeah, just have fun.
Smoke
out, run around.
And Mike had his stuff like running Grand Royal. Yauk had his stuff. Like at that time, he was really into like snowboarding.
He was snowboarding a lot.
He was like gone snowboarding.
Yeah.
And it was like a way just to have fun. And I remember we used to go and meet at the farmers market, the old farmers market there on Fairfax.
Every weekend.
What was that restaurant?
Charlie's.
Charlie's. We'd all meet at Charlie's and hang out together, and there was like a fellowship and just all the guys.
Everybody, me, you, everybody was there.
Rob Montalbano,
Rob,
Max,
Joey, Amy, my sisters.
And I remember one day I was there with Adam, and Adam said, "Oh yeah, Monty, I've got this vision for a logo for DFL." I was like, "Oh yeah, what is it?" He said, "It's like just, I want this guy like smiling with DFL written in their teeth, in his teeth."
Cool.
And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds great. Go for it." And then I guess he got in touch with like one of his graffiti friends in New York, Reese. And then Reese came up with the logo, and actually the Knucklehead logo, and wrote the My Crazy Life on the side and stuff that we used for the CD that came out after the record.
Yeah, logos and everything. That's big for a band to we launched onto that and just never stopped. We just kept pushing that, and I think that's what's important for bands to have a logo.
I love the Knucklehead logo, and I mean people love it. People get tattoos of it. You have a tattoo of it. I have a tattoo of it.
I definitely. It took me 30 years. I think I was 28 or something, 30 when I first started with this band. And I was going to so many shows my whole life and never sang for a band ever. I played drums with Drew's band, and I always just sat in the background and was a super fan, especially of Pennywise and those guys.
Because those were your Hermosa days when you moved from Malibu to Hermosa and became friends with Jim Lindbergh and Fletcher.
So when I made the move and met with you guys, the transition was really easy. You guys needed a singer. Me and Max tried out. Max couldn't do it. I was up to bat, and
I mean, and not to like fanboy out about you, but your lyrics, like I would write like a chorus, like Pizza Man, and then I'd write the music, but I would just leave the verses up to you, and you would always just write some crazy shit that was like, to me, is like some crazy poetry or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not real book smart. I'm more street smart than book smart, but I always had big fans of like Jack Kerouac and fucking the Lizard King growing up, and I don't know, I try not to overindulge and think too much about the lyrics, because in the music that we grow up on, you could barely understand what the dude's saying anyways. It's it's just important. It's sort of it's 50% show and 50% how good you are. Yeah, I think it was always fun. I'd call that tongue-in-cheek style of music, because there were so many bands that were trying to just be too serious, and they're too serious on stage. And as a fan of music, I just see right through that. It's not something that I believed. So if you mix it up with a little bit of tongue-in-cheek and a little bit of, like always wondering what the guy was gonna do, it's always keeping people guessing, instead of like one position, rah, 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 rah. And you mentioned it a little while ago, like who are your fans, kind of like who are you imitating? Because obviously every person is imitating everybody. Influencing, that's probably a better word. But like Scranny from Wasted Youth, I just remember in Tony Adolescent, as watching those bands who are pretty much our same age. Maybe they're a little bit older, but I was not singing for a band then, but they were just constantly moving around, So those were some of my big influence, and you know, pretending to be really drunk like Darby is always a fun one when I wasn't really ever drunk on stage. As you remember, when we were touring and stuff, I think I drank only one night on an 8-week tour. I hated hangovers. I hate hangovers. So I never performed drunk. I think a lot of the bands that we were matched up with, and we were label mates, because we were on Grand Royal, so then we had the influences of Beastie, right? So we were sort of an offshoot of that. But then when we jumped on Epitaph, we're always being related to, like, we weren't anything like Pennywise, Bad Religion, NoFX, Rancid. So when we would play with those bands, there'd always be like, oh man, we really like you guys. You're really different than everybody else's. So I think that would be the same thing, jumping on different labels and moving forward, is that we're just always trying to be a little different than everybody else. Because, I don't know, we're not really big fans of the melodic hardcore that a lot of people grew up on. We grew up on LA hardcore, LA skate punk.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, like I was talking about earlier, you know, when I was working on these songs for My Crazy Life, I was like listening to, you know, Bad Religion's first record, How Could Hell Be Any Worse? And I was really trying to just think about what it was like to be at like the Vex, and see TSOL, or what it was like to go out to, like, you know, the Fleetwood and see Circle Jerks. And just that vibe of the music and of the songs, and then just pushed it and then just channeled it into the energy of DFL. And I mean, I still do that, you know, with stuff that we're working on. And yeah, and you know, I'm just stoked that it feels, and especially being here at GSUN, as surreal as it is, and talking with Ione, who I haven't seen in 20 odd years at least, it feels like this weird kind of full circle. You know, where, you know, I bought the records, you know, I bought the My Crazy Life record. Grand Royal went bankrupt in the early 2000s. And then I got in touch with this company that bought everything and bought the record back. And I'm just stoked that I talked to Greg Hetson, actually put me in touch with Joe Nelson and said, hey, I've got this record, you know, and I'm glad that Trust is into it and supportive of it. Trust has put out a bunch of really cool shit, you know, with Circle Jerks and stuff. And you know, I'm just really excited. And I'll tell you another really weird thing that's like full circle is today I got the test pressings, because we're going to release the live record and the studio record. Studio was recorded one day, live record was recorded the next day. They're going to be A-side, B-side, one side the live record, one side the studio album. And we got the test pressings today, and I had them also mail test pressing to Mario. And Mario listened to it, Mario Caldato. He remastered it, he mixed it for this release, and we'll mix some of it. And he just was like, congratulations, sounds amazing. So I'm just really excited for this.
Where do you see us in like the next 5 or 10 years?
Me? I'll be in the old folks home. No, I'm definitely, I'm headed for the old Jewish punk rocker old folks home.